All right. Any Karate Kid fan has probably seen the popular YouTube video, Daniel is the real bully, and I 100% agree. Um, but there's some things I want to mention that I feel like wasn't discussed in that video or that not a lot of people talk about. I want to like tell you guys, like give you guys a little more info on why I think he's like a bully. um, so in the beginning of the movie, all right, well, let's see. All right, the first fight happens on the beach. We all know this. Anyone who's seen the first movie, and by the way, guys, I'm only talking about. I only think he's a bully in the first movie. Maybe a little bit in the third, but mostly the first is where he's the biggest jerk. So the fight on the beach. All right, now while it's true that Johnny does make the first move by pushing him to the ground, he was going to leave it at that. Daniel wanted the radio, so he gave him the radio. Sure, he didn't give him the radio the best way, but he has the radio, and Johnny wasn't looking for a fight after that. But Daniel was. He just went full attack mode and started running towards Johnny, wanting to beat him up, and Johnny had to defend himself by sticking out his leg twice. Um, and yet, like the other video said, the only way Johnny could save himself from getting beat up by Daniel was to kick him in the stomach, and it wasn't even that hard of a kick. And then Johnny calls off the fight. He wants to make peace with Daniel, but does Daniel want to make peace? No. He sucker punches him right in the face, and if you look closely, he got a nosebleed from it. So what's worse? Pushing somebody to the ground, not very hard, or punching them square in the face? Cause, and then Daniel wants to call it even. Daniel, what you did is way worse than what Johnny did. And if you hadn't butted in the first place, Johnny wouldn't have even done that. Um, so just like any normal human being would react, Johnny gave him a few good punches and kicks, and then left the beach. Um, Now, see, well, let me talk about the next fight scene. Then the soccer scene. Johnny cues into his friend Bobby to um, do something to Daniel, and Bobby makes a plan to trip him, and he trips him during the play. Um, and you know, a normal reaction would be to just either say like to hell with it, these things are gonna happen when you play sports, or just I don't know, give him the finger or something, or just trip him during the next play. But instead, Daniel goes full attack mode again, pins him to the ground, and punches him square in the face, just like he did with Johnny. That's Daniel's ultimate problem. When someone does something very minor to him, he does something very extreme in return, and he thinks he's getting even that way. Like, no, that isn't getting even. That here's a fine example of that. Say someone pokes you with a pencil, and you respond by stabbing them with a pocket knife. It's the same here. Like, someone pokes you with a pencil, so you decide to buy a really sharp knife and stab them in the throat. It's the equivalent. Uh, um, I can't express that enough. Like, I think that's a fine analogy when it comes to like these like very minor bullies, and then the sociopath Daniel. Um, and then as if so as if that's not enough. I mean, Daniel should have expected that he was going to get kicked off the team after that. So does Daniel learn from his lessons? No, he's obsessed with getting revenge. So he goes to the karate place, the Cobra Kai place, hoping that Johnny and his friends weren't there in an attempt to learn karate so he can get revenge on them. I think at that point he didn't know yet that they knew karate. So he was gonna, learn some good moves and then go back to the school and beat the shit out of them. So Johnny knew it, and originally they weren't even planning on doing anything. But then when one of Johnny's friends sees Daniel in a restaurant, they decide to, give him a little message like, just stop wasting your time, kid. Like, yeah, just stop wasting your time. We're like with this whole like getting revenge obsession. It's only gonna lead you down a dark path. So yeah, they and if Daniel had any common sense, he would have used his goddamn brakes before falling off his bike and rolling down the hill. But he didn't, so that's on him again. Um, so instead of Daniel like learning that maybe like his violent tactics of like this getting revenge thing like is leading him to bad places. You wanted to get revenge, you got beat up on the beach. You wanted to get revenge, you got kicked off the soccer team. You wanted to get revenge, you fell down a hill on your bike. You would think at that point he would have given up and realized that what he's doing is wrong and it's leading him down a dark path. But no, no. J- Daniel has no doesn't get bullied for 2 months, and what does he do? He drenches Johnny with the hose, ruining his joints and ruining his whole night. His whole night's ruined. He just wanted to have a good time. uh, He just wanted to have a good time at a Halloween dance with his friends, and Daniel messed it all up. So naturally, once again, he's going to suffer because of his needing to get revenge. When Mr. Miyagi saves him from getting beat up by Johnny, instead of thanking Mr. Miyagi, he just says thanks for nothing in a very angry tone of voice. And he also asks Mr. Miyagi to teach him karate. Mr. Miyagi asks him why. His response, I need to get revenge. And yeah, um yeah, I have no respect for this kid, at least in the first movie. Like, and then, like, even when he's learning karate from Mr. Miyagi, like, he's just focused on wanting to, like, punch. Like, when am I gonna learn how to punch? When am I gonna learn how to punch? You could just tell, like, he's a violent kid. Um, and yeah, I. And let's not forget, after he goes down to the karate dojo and, like, works it out so that they can't hurt him anymore, he decides to rub it in their face and make them feel bad, knowing that they can't do anything about it. Oh, Daniel. Yeah, so those are the main reasons why I view Daniel as the bully. Is Johnny and his friends perfect? No, they have problems too. But eh, with the exception of the soccer trip, like everything else that happened was directly attributed to something Daniel did first. All right, and I guess getting pushed down on the beach wasn't exactly Daniel's fault, but when he actually got seriously hurt was because Daniel like posed some kind of threat to them first, like punching them in the face and showing up to the dojo wanting to get revenge. Like they only ever really hurt him is if he was either threatening to hurt them or actually did hurt them or ruin their night. But you get the point. You get the point. Like everything that happens to Daniel is from his own hands. Like he causes his own misery. Uh, so I have no sympathy for him either. Uh, yeah. So feel free to discuss your opinion in the comment section below, and I guess that's about it. Uh, if you hate Daniel, you're a good person.